And we're live.
Yes.
Dad's Dishing.
To the whole new format.
This is insane.
It really is. It's very exciting, actually, because we took a little break like most of the world did these past few months.
Well, it was the end of the world. It was a zombie apocalypse, and we had to
It still might be. It still might be the end of the world.
So, I mean, obviously, clearly, the big story of 2020 is...
Depression. The Great Depression of 2020.
Well, for me, it was that the Pentagon actually finally revealed that UFOs are real.
Oh, this, you know what? I have to tell you,
You know I was going to bring it to this.
Is a crazy phenomenon, because if you've listened to us before in the past, you know that Joe is convinced there are aliens out there in the world. And I think it's all you watch and all you talk about, really.
Is that really all it is?
Yeah.
That being a single dad.
That and being a single dad. Those are your two passions.
Right.
Forget work.
Right.
It's about aliens and being a single father and helping single fathers.
That's right.
Yes.
And welcome to Dad's Dishing. If you've never heard us before,
yes.
We are a podcast specifically garnered for single fatherhood.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Offering life ingredients, which is what we do.
Exactly. And it is so important. And we have not lost that goal, that mission through COVID to be an advocate out there for single fathers. And that's what this show is all about. And when we do it, we like to have a little fun.
Obviously.
Yes.
Because that's the best way to serve information, right?
Absolutely.
Having fun.
Yes, exactly. So tell me, how did you handle COVID? Last time we were on the air was back in March right before COVID
April.
blew up. Yeah,
like that.
It was crazy.
Just a ton of things, just a ton of things happening. Obviously, we had COVID,
Yes.
right, which immediately had an impact to everyone. We couldn't travel as much. I mean, I couldn't go see my mom. I couldn't see family members.
Which that's the hard part of this. This is something that I think a lot of people went through with COVID.
Right. So my mom passed away.
Yes. I'm so sorry.
Not because of COVID. She had Alzheimer's and came down with pneumonia really suddenly. And then obviously, she didn't make it. And it really sucks because I haven't been able to travel down to Texas to have an actual funeral ceremony for her. She's been cremated, but I lost the person that I was most close to, my whole life. So I had to deal with that. And at the same time, with all the nonsense and craziness that's been happening, between COVID and George Floyd's murder and, it's just
all the things that have been happening. Well, first, let me say, because we definitely have to talk about George Floyd and what has gone on there in the past few months. But first, let me say from all of us here at Dad's Dishing, our heart is with you. Your mother's loss, as much as you carried the weight of that, we carried it with you. We felt it for you. We definitely did.
Thank you. And I know you've reached out so many times just saying sorry and... Exactly that. So
it's a difficult thing. And truthfully, that in this time of COVID could be a podcast in and of itself. When you may not be a victim of COVID, passing without being able to see your loved ones for weeks and weeks on end, if you're in a nursing home or in a hospital, you too become a victim of COVID.
Believe it or not, there is sort of like a silver lining, which I always try and aspire to see.
Yes. Glass half full, not half empty.
So
yes.
Basically, my mom had Alzheimer's.
Yes.
So when you have a death from Alzheimer's, which essentially is what this is, she did technically die of pneumonia, but it's because of the shutting down of organs because you forget how to swallow.
Yeah.
Something as simple as that, but that can lead to an infection of pneumonia, and it just starts shutting down your system, which is how she passed. But when you have a loved one with Alzheimer's, what you realize is that you sort of lose them twice, and
absolutely.
So as awful as all of this was, at the same time, the way that she went, not in pain, still remembering me and still remembering those people that are very close to her, that was like, that's everything. Because I didn't have to experience the thing of where you go see a loved one and then they just don't recognize you. Mm-hmm. I would show up. My mom would just immediately start smiling and she knew me.
Oh, how wonderful. Because that's not always the case. Especially your mom was in Texas. You're in New York for many years now.
Right.
So it's not like you were a daily present visually to your mother. So for her to still have memory of you, that's a gift.
Sure.
It really is.
And,
yes.
Well, fortunately, she had a lot of pictures of me up on the wall.
Fantastic.
And, again, the kids. And
she's like, why are there so many Latins on the wall?
Where am I?
Where am I?
Apparently Texas.
Am I at Taco Bell? No, I'm joking. That's awful. That's awful.
You're awful.
Well, you know what? Again, sorry, we are with you, and we know that you are not alone. A lot of people lost people during COVID right now, and it's no easy task. And I think that in and of itself has long-term repercussions. I think
hundreds of thousands of people have died in this country due to COVID, and I encourage people to wear a mask if you're in public, and maybe not in your car. I don't care about that. I don't care about what you're doing at home. But if you're out with the potential to hurt someone else, cover yourself up.
Absolutely. Totally. If you're having sex, cover yourself up. Wear a mask. No.
Wear a mask?
Yeah, wear a mask.
Making out's a little hard, but everything else should be
if
okay.
If you're having strange, wear a mask. Okay. So one of the other things you mentioned happening during COVID was the death of George Floyd.
Right.
And actually what that has brought to light. And one of the jokes I just made a few minutes ago sort of had a racial connotation in the sense that talking about Latinos and saying, oh, Taco Bell.
Sure. This is our first and last podcast.
Exactly. It's over. So, but that being said, obviously my heart is not in a bad place when I say that. It's a good thing. Yeah. But what we've come to in this country is there's a sensitivity. And I would say more so than there's been in past years.
Yes.
Or in the recent past.
There's definitely a divide and we can feel it everywhere.
Absolutely.
Not only like before, it would be okay to almost be silent on these sorts of subjects because maybe you didn't have an opinion or maybe you thought that your opinion wasn't worth anything. Today, I've noticed that a lot of the trolls out there will go ahead and pick on you for not saying something.
Absolutely.
So I don't know what's right or wrong. I think everyone's, has their own opinion on these sorts of things.
It's true.
Murder is murder. I saw the video. It fucking pissed me off. It sucked. It was really hard to watch.
It was terrible to watch. And I think that as we talk to parents and as we are a show about advocating for children, if you have children growing up today, you need to set them up with the tools to be successful. One of those tools is if you are a parent of an African-American child, you probably need to give them tools to be successful in life. If they get pulled over, here's what you do. I think that's the conversation so many have to have. And it's ridiculous that they have to have it. No one should ever have to have that conversation with a child.
Well, ideally, the system starts working and all of these protests that have been out there, ideally what ends up happening is that we start affecting the other side. So I'm all for cops in the sense that I believe that we should not defund the police. I think we need to really fund the police so that they can have the adequate training that they need in communication. Making sure that their standards are set higher. Because what ends up happening is, for example, there's a lot of people saying that you have to eliminate something, a chokehold. Now that sounds like reasonable. Why would you want to choke somebody? But it's a way to get control of someone.
I use it in the bedroom quite a bit.
Exactly. but if you want to have control over somebody, right? Then either you're going to have to beat that person up senseless. You have to hit them in the head. Yeah. Or you can apply a chokehold if you know what you're doing. And I believe that cops a lot of times don't know what they're doing and they're suffering from PTSD because the job sucks, because they're responding to God knows what, because you don't know who's behind that, door with a gun or what have you. So, I mean, the list is endless of things that these poor guys go through. And then when they may make a mistake. Cameras are on them and they screw up and maybe an officer has had an exemplary career and now everything's just gone awful for them. So, I support all of the movements as far as putting more funds into the police, but at the same time, Black lives do matter. You can't ignore that.
Well, I think there's one thing if you're protecting yourself and protecting others, and then there's a whole nother thing when you take it too far.
Right.
Holding somebody down underneath your knee is not right. If somebody's saying, I can't breathe, you stop.
That guy had no freaking mercy.
No mercy. It was, it almost is like he didn't have a heart.
No.
And that's the scary thing.
Right.
So, you know what? I think, unfortunately, from death, we learn things. And I'm glad that this is part of the conversation now.
You got to have a conversation with your kids until we get this whole thing right with the cops. So.
Absolutely. So continue on. We bring this show in this new format on several different platforms.
All the platforms.
Podcast platform, YouTube platform, and of course, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all of those social media aspects. This is a new tool because so many of us are sitting at home during COVID and we ran out of things to do. I'm done with Netflix. I'm done with Amazon Prime. I'm done with Hulu, all of it. I've watched everything. So this is something we wanted to give to you, all of our listeners and viewers out there, which is really a great thing.
Absolutely. Now, what are some of the struggles that you found being at home?
Yeah.
Like, how did you start to cope? What did you do for fitness? What did you do?
What did I do for fitness? I ate. I ate a lot. When you talk about that COVID-15.
Oh, yeah. I got it.
I think I gained the COVID-30. So it is a struggle. And you know, the worst part is, so early on into COVID happening, right after March, we had been in Hawaii. I got engaged in Hawaii.
Congratulations. That's a big deal.
But you know what? You came from Hawaii and having this wonderful time and this fabulous thing happen. And then it went to us being together 24 hours a day, nonstop. And now there's no wedding happening. No, there's a good chance it might never happen because, I mean, talk about a true test of a relationship.
Right.
But so early on, we decided, okay, we're going to sort of leave New York and go down to Florida to do COVID and quarantine in Florida.
Right.
Which was fantastic. But one of the things that happened is I started drinking immediately when I got down there.
Why did you do that? Because I did the same thing. I added.
Yes.
We were talking about this right before.
Yes.
So I used to drink just Fridays, Saturdays, and then get my head straight on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then get attack the week.
Exactly.
Work out twice
Recovery
a day. Do all that
Sunday.
Stuff.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, why not add Sunday into the mix? Because the world may end, and apparently drinking more would make some sense.
Do you know, I think we all sort of had this end in sight thing going on. It was, I was on vacation.
You're on vacation.
I'm partying. I'm at the pool. I am drinking every night. And it is a month to 2 months.
The world's dying, but I'm going to enjoy myself.
Exactly. I'm going to have fun. And you know what? What do I care anyways? The world is ending. So so we did start drinking immediately. And at that point too, gyms were not open.
No.
You could not go work out.
They're still not open.
Still not
Governor,
open in New York.
Please.
Yes. Yeah.
Please open up the freaking gyms.
Well, and you know what? We found a loophole around it and we worked with a personal trainer in Florida. But even that, I can't move the needle on the scale. I swear COVID pounds don't come off as easily as other pounds do. So that's a problem.
Oh my gosh. I was hoping that, the governor, I wanted to hear him. Because I think he sounds like Al Pacino from Scent of a Woman.
He definitely
Hello, everybody.
Yes. Hoorah. Is that what he does? Yes.
You need to wear a mask.
Yes.
If you don't have a mask, you can't work out.
Let's go to my brother over at CNN. All right. So what did you do to work out?
I got a Peloton.
And
I love it.
Okay. People are obsessed with Peloton. You love it.
It's a really hard workout, but it's like anything else. You got to put into it what you get out of it. You have to really work hard. But what I do love is that they have a leaderboard. So I get to see all the people that are on there.
And where you fall in it.
Exactly. So I'm trying to end up in the top 1%.
Which typically you do. Yeah. And here's the thing. What's nice about that is I think part of the idea behind a workout class is that you have the competition of the people around you.
Right.
The Peloton allows you to continue to have that competition without the class around you.
Right.
So it's healthy, it's safe, it is free from COVID.
Right.
And you can do it in your underwear and
Absolutely.
Nobody knows what you look like at home.
It would hurt in your underwear.
Yes.
Because the seat isn't very big.
Oh, did you have to buy like bicycle shorts?
Oh, no.
No. So
I just wear regular, regular shorts, but they have a liner like underneath. So it keeps everything nice and tight, if you know what I mean. I
know what you mean. You got to keep the boys in the basket.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You got to keep them hugged and warm and comfortable.
Or else, it would be quite uncomfortable in that tiny little seat. So.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I think that I would probably put like a cushion on it or something. Make it, shabby chic.
Just make sure the seat's on.
Yes, exactly.
Don't pull it off. It's just
dirty mind, Joe Sanchez. All right.
I know you.
So what we are talking about today and what we're going to go into and what we're going to talk to our guests about today is how parents are handling COVID. Now, you have 2 kids, one out of college, one still in college. Mm-hmm. How are things proceeding into the fall semester for your daughter? What's going on? What's the latest there?
Well, she's supposed to report to school here in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
So we're taking the trip up to St. Lawrence. I think only one parent can go. That may be Dolly.
Okay.
But I have the larger car, so I'm still negotiating because I want to take my daughter to school.
Naturally, yeah.
You can't go in.
Yeah,
you can't go in.
No,
Okay.
I can't go. But I could just.
Kelly, our producer, just says no that there is, you can't.
15 minutes.
15 minutes to get in.
And they're not allowed to go
So I think they're basically saying, bring a sleeping bag. You're not going to be here long if you've got 15 minutes to set up your year of living.
There's a lot of theories out there, by the way, that say that they're doing so that they can justify their overall school tuition. And in a couple of weeks, they'll say, sorry, kids, too many kids are getting sick and everybody's going to have to go back to remote learning. So
yeah,
it's, we don't know. But again,
it should be a telling time.
Yeah.
So before we get to our guests, I just want to ask one more question. The other thing we don't think about when we talk about COVID and kids in school is the kids that are just out of school. Jake, how's he doing as far as looking for jobs? Is he out there creating that resume because he's now graduating?
Right.
So in a time when you would normally leave school and go get a job, nobody's hiring.
Especially if you have your degree in theater arts.
Yes, yes.
So, yeah, no one's getting together.
Theaters are shut down. Manhattan,
exactly.
Yes, it is. Broadway is shut down.
So, yes. So, for Jake, it's been, I think, a little bit challenging and probably not where it is that he thought he would be.
Yes.
But, the guy is so smart. He's actually had something. So, Jake will watch a movie and write almost a complete dossier
really
of the movie, what it meant to him, and always have a very unique angle and perspective. And what's cool is that it's one of his writings was actually published in a national publication that was online. So
huge.
So, yeah.
I didn't know this. This is huge.
So Jake has the ability not just to be an amazing actor and sing, but he also can really write. So, and we just are getting him I'm getting him in touch with some people that I know personally that help freelancers make money,
Awesome.
Because you got to figure out how to make that happen.
Well, I think the big lesson that will come out of 2020 and COVID and quarantine is that so many of us felt we were on a path in life. And what we've learned now is that we have to pivot. And you do have to follow the path wherever it goes.
You're pivoting.
I'm pivoting, yes.
Tell us quickly about that.
Yeah, quickly, I'm going to talk about that. It is a pop-up shop with my partner, our producer, Kelly. So she's been in the business for 20 plus years. It's fantastic. Kelly, come wave. Come say hi. Kelly has been in the business for 20 plus years. So we are together opening a pop-up shop. Oh, yes, there we go. You look adorable that way. And that will be coming to the Central New York area in the next few weeks.
That's
very exciting.
Super exciting.
Yeah.
But we had to repivot.
Yes,
we had to pivot and repivot to actually work with an amazing team, and that's Ethan and Sebi. They're the guys. They're the geniuses
producing this,
all of this stuff.
Producing all of this.
It.
Thank you, Kelly.
They had the vision to be able to get us on the podcast that we want, the social media that we want, basically omnipresence, which is what it is that I always envisioned for us, because I was like, we got to do that. Yeah. How do we do that? And now we're doing it. So
it's so exciting.
So welcome to the first thing.
Yeah. And our first guest today this is such a pivotal moment in education for parents deciding whether or not to open the schools back up come fall for your young children. Just as we come on the air today, there was a report in the past week that 800 kids in Atlanta, Georgia have been quarantined. I believe it was Atlanta, correct, Kelly?
Atlanta.
Yes, it was in Atlanta from starting school because that was a test. They started a month earlier than we do up here in the north. So our guest today is going to be able to speak to all of that, what precautions they're taking, and so much more, which is awesome.
And if I understand, he's a Academy or a Grammy winning artist. Is that correct?
Nope, this is not correct.
Okay. It's not Chris Brown?
It is Chris Brown, but not that Chris Brown. Yes, Dr. Chris Brown.
Oh, Dr. Chris.
He is superintendent of the Canandaigua school system, of a school system out in Canandaigua, New York, and we will have him. But I think we would be remiss to not say who this show is brought to you by today.
Absolutely. Yeah. Of course, Cafe Kubal.
The best.
They've been supporting us throughout this whole time.
Yes.
Even when we're technically off the air, we still found ways to still do business with them, supporting them, and they also in turn supported us. So thanks to Matt Goddard and all of the team at Cafe Kubal, still like finding ways also to be open and with a delivery truck and getting to neighborhoods and local areas to like provide the very best coffee.
Which is awesome. They did have a coffee truck that pops up in the neighborhood, in my neighborhood. It's a fantastic thing. And again, learning to pivot through this time and rethink the way we do things.
And the coffee grounds are made here, right?
Yeah.
Remember we had that tour back in the day?
Which was fantastic. So the Dad Station Studio is coming to you live from the Cafe Coupal not live space, but work space. The co-working space. So we are so happy to be here, and that is fantastic.
And also our other sponsor is Northeastern Dental.
Get your dental on, kids.
Absolutely. Yes. That's where we're all going.
Yeah.
For teeth whitening, et cetera. And their message is that they're open, that they're taking the safest precautions, and they encourage you to come back and get your checkups, that they're definitely COVID minded. They're thinking about these sorts of things so that you can, still have great looking teeth.
Which is amazing.
Exactly.
Yes, because it is
decent
dental health is the key to long-term health.
Absolutely.
They say that all the time. So this is so important.
And if you have your mask on for a while, what do you start smelling after a while? You smell your breath.
Yes, especially after coffee or garlic.
Exactly. Take care of your teeth. Take care of your mouth. Family visits are encouraged. Reach out to Northeastern Dental.
Yes. So we will be right here with Chris Brown. He's coming to join us right now via Zoom call because of this different time.
Via satellite?
Via satellite, yes. Look for the alien.
Yeah, so our top team hasn't been able to get a day off yet because we've been so busy trying to figure out plans for not only the end of the school year last year, but the summer, and then what's going to happen here in the fall. But we're learning a lot, and you always have to take positives out of negatives, and that's what we're trying to do right now.
Absolutely. So as things stand currently, as we go into the new school year, where is your school district? Where is the mindset? Is it a day-to-day decision, or have you laid out a platform that will happen for this upcoming year?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we sent a survey out to our community members, as I'm sure most schools did, to find out, what kind of education did they want their children to receive? Did they want it to be a kind of a virtual experience for now, or did they want to get in school? And with the size of our school buildings and the number of staff that we have in my particular district, we're able to get all of our UPK to 2 students in school every day.
Wow.
Which is good. Our grades 3, 4, 5. Our third graders are in 4 days a week, and our fourth and fifth graders are in 3 days a week. And for our middle school, high school, they're kind of going on a staggered A-B schedule. They're in a day, virtual a day, until we can get. The biggest hang up for every school is the social distancing requirement of 6 feet. If they were able to lower that to 4 feet or 3 feet, I think most schools would be telling you they could get all the students in. But 6 feet is a challenge. It ends up being about 12 to 13 students in a classroom that normally would hold 20 to 25.
Wow.
Are they going to? Are they going to be required to wear masks while the classes are going on?
That's an awesome question. So it comes down to measurements, actually. And what will happen is, if you're in a classroom and in the human being to human being, not desk to desk or chair to chair, but human to human, is 6 feet or more of distance, children will be able to take their masks off. If they're anywhere closer than 6 feet, they have to keep their masks on at all times, and then the teacher can kind of work them through some mask breaks as they go through their classes.
Wow. Okay. So as we go into this, is there a conversation that you're having with your teachers and your staff that, okay, we're going to try this, see how it works, and go from there? Or is the goal that this will be the way this works for the entire fall semester?
Well, yeah, we don't know what we don't know yet. So
yes.
Right now what we've said is, we're going to come back with the schedule that I just kind of talked about. We want to try to ease our employees back into the district because, I've been here at work every day since March 12th. But a lot of people walked out March 12th and have not been back in the building since. And I think, when you talk about mental health and you want people to be their best, we have to help them to ease their anxieties as well as they come back before we even think about bringing children in. And then, once you bring children in and once you bring students in, you have to talk about their socio-emotional learning as well as academics. I mean, we want them to be here and be comfortable being here before we can think about academics. So it's a big ball of stuff. And as I say to parents, everything is subject to change. We're all working with plans that are based on the information that we have today. If that changes for the positive or the negative, then we have to adjust our plans. And
yes,
if the governor says in 2 weeks that we all have to go virtual, then the school year's got to start virtual, and we have a plan for that. If the governor says, okay, everybody can come back, then we have a plan for that. And then, right now, I think most schools are in that hybrid mode like we are of let's do a little bit virtual and a little bit in person. So it's a lot of training going on right now of our teachers, trying to help them to be as good as they can with in-person learning. I think in the springtime, teachers did a phenomenal job of going home and trying to teach online. And we certainly want to be better than we were in the spring. Every school does. And so part of that development, just in a variety of areas to get ready for the school year.
You have a plan A and a plan B. Either way.
A plan Q.
Yes, exactly. A,
like
B, C, D, E, F, G.
But
you know what you're doing either way. You have a plan in place.
now, very important though, because this is what I would want to know if I was a student. Is it better to bring my lunch or have lunch at school there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. Our food service staff is awesome, and we've actually been delivering food and providing food for the community all summer. And in my district, we're not a high wealth district by any means, so we're serving between March and the end of June, we served 100,000 meals to a community
wow.
in a school district that only has 1,200 students in it. So you can kind of sense the need. And so for us, food service is very important to our students. And in talking with the Department of Health, they're not overly concerned with us serving food and possibly transmitting COVID at all. In fact, they were the ones that were trying to facilitate us purchasing lunch. I would say this. I think that options might be a little more limited than they were before COVID because you have limited staffing. You're trying to stagger lunches, kind of like a restaurant that opens and has an 8-page menu, and then they realize in the first 2 weeks they can't do that.
Yes.
So they go back down to a 2-page menu.
Right.
It's kind of like that for schools. So your child might have a limited menu, but
there will be a menu in place
a hot meal for sure for breakfast and lunch.
Awesome. So
yeah.
As we continue have you seen pushback from the parents as far as scheduling, what the rotation concerns, as far as how they're going to get to work, get their kids? How are you guys proceeding with that? Because I would imagine there are issues with busing and all of that happening currently.
Yeah, there's issues with everything.
Yes, I'm sure. Sure.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to work in a community where, and I want to say this politically correctly, but
yeah,
we just don't have a lot of parents who feel entitled. We have a lot of parents who very much trust the school system and what we're doing. We give them input, and at the end of the day, they know that we have to make a decision, and they by and large will try to work around the decisions that we make. Now, the trade-off there for us is that we understand the community dynamic, and so we do try to give parents as many options as we can. I will tell you, if you have a child in my district, if you have a child who's in one of the elementary schools not going every day, and you have a child that's in the high school that's going every other day, and they don't quite match up, those are some of the phone calls that I've had to take. And I can, any leadership position, you try to figure out as many solutions to as many problems as you can, but you can't fix all of them. And our parents, we have some parents who are a little frustrated, but they're frustrated in an understanding way, that they know that we've done every single possible thing we can. We just can't make it happen for them right now. And, again, things can change. And that's what I tell parents. I'm like, who knows when I can pick up another day where elementary kids can go one more day, and we'll do it. So it's very, very much in flux all the time.
Excellent. Before we leave this conversation, because we know you are busy, it has not been a summer break for you. It has been nonstop chaos, I am sure. I just want to ask if you have been watching the schools that have opened already previously in the South, and what you're seeing. Are you hearing anything from the governor? Are you hearing from any of the local other superintendents in your area as far as what we're seeing already at the schools that are opening? These kids that are already having to go into quarantine in large numbers.
Yeah, and I think I have been watching that, and I've also been in constant contact with the departments of health as well as the county. Most counties have reopening committees and that kind of thing, and they have lines to the governor in tune. And take a look, I think, at some of those states that have had very, very high child cases, well, they've got very high adult. So a place like New York right now, knock on wood, that's had a low infection rate, luckily, if we can continue the practices and procedures that we've been doing, and I know not everybody is in favor of them, but they appear to be working. Are children going to get COVID? The answer is yes. I would never get on a program or look a parent in the eye and say, I can guarantee that your child's not going to get COVID. But what I can say is I think the percentage chance of that is incredibly lower than some of these schools that have opened in some of those hot states, if you will. When you look at some of the photographs, they're not social distancing. When you look at, they're not wearing masks.
Yes, I have seen that for sure.
They clearly need you to go down there and whip them into shape. I mean, that's basically what you would be doing.
Well, it's what I tell parents is this, because parents ask me all the time, should I send my child to school? I always say I have older kids. I would be sending my children to school because I know what we're doing in our schools to keep them safe. And the first question that I ask a parent is, I say, have you had your child out of the house since March? And if the answer is yes, where have you taken them? Have they gone to the store? Have they gone to the park? Have they gone to, the mall now or wherever?
Right.
And if the answer is yes to any of those, then I would tell them that, the requirements for the schools are so much higher than those places that I would definitely send their child. I think the parent who's going to be on the fence probably is going to be a parent who has someone who might be immunocompromised in the house. Maybe they're caring for a grandparent or something like that, or they and their children have not been out of the house since March. And if that's the case, and this is the first place that they're going to have their child go, that's a kitchen table conversation than if you've already been exposing your children to different outside or different activities outside of the home. And it really does come down to, their preference. But I would tell any parent, I know what the superintendents are doing around the state. Everybody's working hard and working together, and they're in constant contact with the Centers for Disease Control and departments of health. We're not making these decisions on our own. And, like I said, I would be sending my own children to my schools without question.
So the takeaway is basically schools are safe under your jurisdiction, at least. But yeah, the parameters as far as them catching something is less likely at school than someplace else, if they're out and about.
I'm not that kind of doctor, but I would tell you that I know for a fact that the standards that we have to uphold at schools are higher than in some of the places that parents are currently now taking their children.
Understood. All right.
Awesome. Dr. Chris Brown, thank you so much for your time during this crazy time.
Chris, we love you. Thank you so much again.
Stay healthy. Have a great semester.
Yeah, thanks. And if you want to have me back on in September, October to kind of see how things are going, I'd be more than happy to come out.
I think that would be awesome, definitely, to give us an update where we stand as this continues to be a developing thing.
You bet. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome, brother.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
So, Scotty.
Yes.
Always Dr. Brown.
Dr. Chris Brown, he is so fantastic. I will say this, it's got to be so difficult to be in that role right now because as it is, it's hard to please people. But then on top of that, to have people worried about their children,
right?
It's very hard to please people when it comes to that.
I'm telling you, that guy is a sort of person that relishes in those sort of like, disastrous sort of like contingency action plans. That
I wouldn't say he relishes in it. I think he strives in it. He survives in it.
No,
he does, yes.
He's like, bring it on.
Yes, I have an answer. I have a solution.
And the world, not a problem. I'm going to go ahead and, take care of it. So I was in the military. I knew guys like that. They liked when things went haywire and they're like, yeah, let's bring it on,
It's the same as like an ER doctor, I would imagine. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What's coming to me today?
Exactly. So,
okay.
So, we have a couple of takeaways here.
Yes, we do. And what are yours? Well,
I'm going to say, first of all, let me, because we did make mention of this. You're probably watching, why is there a coloring book or a Frida the Frog book in front of us? But it's actually something really cool. It's, Frida the Frog and the Two Mamas Next Door.
How
and
fantastic
who
is this?
happens to be on the back cover with his very own quote of a nationally published book, but
so
our
exciting.
very own Scott.
Duncy.
I almost said...
What did you almost
Who are
say?
you?
I'm like,
I was like,
that seems.
I was going to say Scott Dunseith, but I wanted to say, oh no, it's Scotty D.
Yes,
which is,
Scotty D.
Which is your cool.
My radio TV name. Yeah.
Exactly. So Scotty D is on the back of this freaking book, which is amazing.
It's
And this
Scotty D approved.
It is Scotty D
It's a
approved.
fantastic book. What was that?
From Michael Bryan.
Oh, yes, our friend Michael Bryan's
And
also
also
on the back
Michael
of this.
Bryan, yep.
So here's what's great about this book. It is about two moms. It is an example of what we should be teaching our children today.
Right.
That all families do not look the same.
No.
We can be different, and that is a good, healthy thing. So this book, we are going to actually have a little contest coming up in the next few weeks. We'll be giving away a copy of this, which is so exciting.
This is so needed, by the way.
Nadine
This really is
Haruni,
needed.
Haruni, so fantastic, the author of this
We had
book.
the
It's
pleasure
awesome.
of meeting her in New York City for lunch with Michael C. Bryan, and it was a great time.
Awesome.
She's so passionate about, educating kids. She's a lawyer by trade, but
Yes.
she's absolutely fantastic. And
this latest addition to the Free to the Frog book, it really is
Absolutely.
fabulous.
It's available on Amazon.
It's available on Amazon.
Perfect.
And, wherever it is, you can get a book.
And
We're looking to have her up here to have a book signing too.
absolutely, as well as you can follow her all over social media.
Perfect, yes. And that's great. If you can't hear that, our producer Kelly is telling you it is available on Amazon. You can follow her on social media. We oftentimes have the link right up to her work.
Absolutely.
So look for that on Dad's Dishing on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
We're also going to be carrying her book on our website on
which is so exciting, which is in development.
Yeah.
So
It's
very exciting things happening.
And so we're going to start a little tradition here. So our podcasts are now released every Thursday.
Yes.
That's when we come alive. That's
For
when
the weekend. We're ready for the weekend.
right?
Yes, yeah.
And it's also far enough into the week where we can maybe have a little bit unwinding, or what we want to say, upwinding?
Upwinding. Kelly, our producer, came up with that idea. And I'm like, we are upwinding for the weekend ahead every Thursday night.
So we're going to have a Thursday happy hour toast.
Yes.
At different establishments throughout wherever
the
it is-
area, wherever
it is,
we are at the
exactly,
time.
wherever we're at. And this Thursday, the 20th, we're going to be at the York.
Yes. So
So-
join us Thursday, the 20th. We will be there tonight at 6:00,
Right.
which is so fun. It is the 20th of August. If you're listening to this a few days later, I don't want you to come the following Thursday.
We'll go see Danny and the beautiful bartenders he has there.
Yes.
So yeah, absolutely. It's
And
gonna
we'll
be a good
recap
time.
the conversation from the week and have a chance to meet and greet and talk to all of you.
Yeah, and just have fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just have fun, and celebrate, being a single dad.
Which is so awesome. Well, what a great episode, Joe. Thank you so much. This is so fun.
Thanks
You're
for staying
back.
with us. We are back and better than ever.
Yes.
So thank you to our new team. Thank you to producer Kelly. Scotty, I love you. Thank you.
And we'll see you next week.